Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, April 10th. It is 6:20 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Just got a couple of things here to update, and we should be good to go. All right, let's get there. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, guys, as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here on the daily chart. Just going to mark the nearby liquidity. Going down to the 2 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Down to the 30-minute. Down to the 15-minute. Down to the 10. There's not really going to be much liquidity here, guys, because you guys can see this huge candle right here from the market, pre-market news. I think price will be bullish today, and the reason for that is because we have a big spike to the downside. And I'll wait for people to join into the room. But for the people who are here already, so we had this big spike to the downside. There was news at 5:30. It was actually all positive. So you guys can see the crazy manipulation in the market today. All the news is positive, but this thing spiked down super heavy. So I think this will correct back up eventually. So pretty much here is liquidity here on the liquidity chart. Closest level below is going to be at 38,670, and the closest level above is going to be at 38,345. Pretty big push to the upside, but a correction that I do expect to happen sometime today. Mark up a clean chart here. Go over here to the 4 hour time frame. Identify structure. There's that lower low right there. Higher high right there. There as well. Going down to the 1 hour. Closer to high right there. And it looks like about it. All right, so I'll just put this right here as the 1 hour resistance level. If we even get close to that point. And the lower low right here, which is the 4 hour support level. They're not too low. All right, so here are the levels here marked up on our clean chart. Price is currently sitting around the 4-hour support level. It's bouncing around right now. I'll make some adjustments when the market opens, but right now, I mean, this is all we can really work with for now. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, April 10th. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here on our liquidity chart. Closest level below is going to be at 38,670. The level above is going to be at 39,345. Over here on our clean chart, I marked up the 4-hour support level and the 1-hour resistance level up here. Looking over here at the BB3 chart, there are no double body double wicks right now. Looking over here at the PRB chart, the trend's currently bearish. So the PRB might be looking for a sell, but we'll see what happens here when the market actually opens. As I mentioned earlier, guys, we had this big spike right here based off the 5:30 news event from this morning. We had news at 4 o'clock. We had news at 5:30. The news event was positive, but the price dropped down super heavy. So I think price will correct back here when market opens up in a few minutes. So we had news at 4 o'clock, 5:30, and 6. Let's mark this up real quick. So 4 o'clock, 5:30, obviously right here, and 6. Just trade balance right there. And that's pretty much it. We have news over here at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and that's about it for today. So I'll mark it up over here. 7 o'clock, 7:30. And I think that's about it. All right, guys, market is going to open up in about a minute or so. We'll see what happens here when the market opens. So as you guys can see, price is pretty much sitting at the 4-hour support level right here. I think price is probably going to bounce up soon, but we will see what happens here. And just another heads up, guys. I don't know if you guys saw that chat over here, but you guys have seen Jack. Jack's been like top 3 traders on TFF for like the past couple months now. And no surprise here. It's unfortunate, but there's no surprise here that he just got banned. They banned him for no reason for pretty much hitting top 3 every single month. And yeah, this is why I don't recommend TFF to anybody, guys. I don't recommend any CFD firms. You can see over here, he had a bunch of profit that was sitting. He was waiting for his withdrawal, and they just decided to ban him so that he had multiple accounts, but obviously that didn't happen. So unfortunately for Jack, hopefully he made enough profit back, which I'm sure he did, made his money back. But it just sucks to, get funded like that on a CFD firm and then get it all taken away for no reason. Jamel's asking if we have FOMC. FOMC is happening later today. Yeah, that's correct. FOMC is later today at 11 FOMC minutes right here. All right, guys, market is now open. There's not really too much movement here. Zoom in a little bit. All right, so market is now open. Zoom out a little bit if possible. Can't really see too much here. Market opening price. So the ATR is extremely high right now because of the movement that happened here pre-market. And I guess we'll try to see what we can find here, but at this very moment, Yeah, exactly. Nick said market volatility, market is volatile today, so we might have to use a 1030. Yeah, I agree with you too. We might have to use a 1030. Let me see if I can make some adjustments here. Got to figure out what contract size I need to use because I'm currently using a 20. I probably use less, 18. It's 5 times 30. It's going to be less than that. Yeah, the volatility is way too high right now, guys. For sure, got to use a 1030. I mean, I think even a 1030 might be too small. Look how tight that TP stop loss is. Jeez. All right, so yeah, you want to be careful today, guys. If you guys are looking to take some trades, you for sure want to be careful today because of the news over here at 5:30. The market is extremely volatile. It's like way more volatile than it should be. The crazy thing about the news over here is that this dropped super heavily. You guys see this big red candle, but if you look at the news is actually super positive. So yeah, this is a little tricky. Might want to lower your contract size if necessary, and probably get a wider TP stop loss. I mean, for today, we might even have to use something like a 2550 because I mean, you guys can see here. I'll put the TP stop losses next to each other. This is a 1025. You guys can see how small that is, right? Extremely small, 1025. I'll put a 1030 right next to it. I don't think either of these will really satisfy the drawdown requirement if price ends up spiking because it's moving so heavy. And then I'll put a 2550 here. And even the 2550 looks small. That's 2550, sorry. So 2550, right? 2550 might be the case for today. Yeah, because these 10, it's the volatility is way too high. If you just put them next to the candles, I mean, you guys can already see how extremely volatile it is. So I'm probably gonna wait for the market to kind of stabilize a little bit. It's a little too volatile right now. Like this ATR is crazy. We're like typically trading at like a 12, 15 ATR. This is more than double. It's like at 35, 37. Way too high right now. It's crazy. Um, so I'm gonna sit tight for a little bit. I'm gonna wait. I know the market's gonna kind of stabilize a little bit at some point. Even these candles here are kind of big. They're like 700 points or 70 points. The market will stabilize eventually, but at this time, I think there's going to be a lot of manipulation because of the news at 5:30 right here. So let's see. Yeah, Stern said NBC just posted or CNBC just posted a 300-point drop. I think the correction is going to happen, but I think everybody's expecting the correction. So that's what makes it tricky here. Because if everybody's expecting price to go up, they're not just going to push price up, right? Everybody's expecting a correction because of the news. Nicholas said how is the news positive if inflation is higher? I think it's higher than what they anticipated because it was positive. So yeah, I mean the inflation rate only went up a little bit. So previously it was 0.4%, it was 0.3. So inflation is up, but it's not as high as it was as they were expecting. It was better than expected news. Like inflation's going to go up. It doesn't mean that inflation is going down. It just means that it was better than what they expected. So they're expecting it to go to change a bit, but then it ended up being a lot better than what they expect. Not a lot better, but 0.1% is pretty big for inflation rate and for the other things here. So it's not necessarily good news. I mean, obviously, there's inflation is not going to be better because the type of market that we're in, it's just gonna either go up a lot or it's gonna go up a little bit. It went up a little bit, so it was a little better than expected. And that's why the news was actually positive. But there's no stopping inflation, right? Inflation is going to go up regardless. So it's not like a complete 180. It's just more so it was a softer hit than expected. But if it was if this here was, yeah, exactly what Ross said. Ross said YOY was higher than expected, so it was negative for the market. I agree with that, but like with the consensus, it wasn't as high as it was as they were expecting. So they're expecting it to be a lot worse. But so I wasn't expecting like a huge drop. Like this here wasn't what I was expecting. Maybe a small drop, like maybe less than 100 points. But this is like a 500 point drop. This is like market failing basically. This is almost close to price limits. If you guys have traded during COVID, this is like when something like this would happen, the market would shut down. Well, not this specifically, but if it gets to like a thousand points, I believe. I don't know where the price limits are for YM, but I know during COVID when this would drop like 100 points, like the market would just be completely shut down. And that's pretty much what happened during COVID. They're called circuit breakers. So it's almost there. I mean, it's at like 600. It's probably not going to hit 1,000, but if that was the case, yeah. But you usually don't see movements like this, even for inflation rate news or anything like that, because the inflation rate was negative last month too, and it wasn't. I mean, it didn't drop like this. Yeah, exactly. Patricia said put the breakers on. They probably will eventually. If this thing keeps dumping, which I highly doubt it will, I don't think this is going to keep dumping. But if it does keep dumping, they're going to definitely put the circuit breakers on. So liquidity right there just got hit, guys. I don't know if anybody caught it. It looks like Sadie caught it. Yeah, it was a quick little move right down there. So Sadie caught the liquidity down below. Price is now below the 4-hour support. I'm just going to take this off because I don't think this here is the actual, or let's go on the 4-hour real quick. I don't think this is the actual support because it probably dropped lower. Yeah. So this is no longer the support. I'll just draw some zones down there when price gets to that point. So there's a higher high right here. I'm going to put this as the 1 minute resistance level. So looking over here at the PRB, there's actually no PRB entry yet, but it is setting up. So we have the rejection right here. We have a bunch of space consolidation candles right here. We're just looking for another rejection off the pivot. So if there's another rejection off the pivot that comes up anytime soon, there will be a PRB entry that will be setting up here. For the breakout V3, there's no entry available here yet. I'm just going to try to remove that huge candle so the candles look normal, because that big candle is kind of just what's screwing it up here. Well, not just that, but like the other smaller candles behind it. So I'll just zoom in a little bit. So there's less confusion. All right, otherwise, there still hasn't been a MPS entry. So, I mean, if anybody's looking for the MPS, the ATR is still extremely high though. So I don't even know if I'll take anything here, not yet. Yeah, the MPS here has not come up yet. I'm looking at it. So we had this candle over here that retraced, that never got filled right here at the 40 mark. And then we had a candle here that retraced, it never got filled at the 10 mark. Let's take a look at retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is kind of neutral right now. It's 57% short, which is, yeah, it's pretty neutral for the most part. The fundamentals here, this thing is still tanking like pretty heavy. It's now down 500 points. That is crazy. This is kind of what happened last week too. It's similar to what happened last week. It just kept dumping and dumping and dumping. Um, so again, right here, there's another momentum pullback scalp entry that's setting up. Again, I'm not going to take this trade, guys, because it's just too close. All right, here, let me see if I can set it up real quick. Actually, the MPS entry over here could work. So now the 10-25 split is actually not super bad. Not as bad as it was earlier. So we'll see how this candle here closes. If anything, it'll probably be over here at the 80 mark. Or the 70 mark below. So it'll be right here at the 80 mark. I'll put a pending order right there. This
Order
is where
submitted.
the MPS entry will be sitting.
Order submitted.
So I don't know if it hit already or it should have hit. It looks like it might have hit. I'm trying to see if it filled on my end. It's kind of, this is what I kind of hate about the MPS when it's like moving to either too fast or too slow. Because I can't tell if it filled on mine or not. If the buy signal closes and it's not filled yet or it's not done yet, it's supposed to be taken out. So let's see. Yeah, it's a bit overextended, like Nick said as well. The volatility is kind of crazy right here. Let me see if this.
Order filled.
So I can't even tell if it filled an order or not. I gotta check on my account over here. I'm not sure if anybody got into this one, but this one was obviously the volatility is a little high. But like I said, I gotta take every entry that kind of shows up here for these scalps. But I don't know. It looked like it hit right here, but then I can't tell the way that it was moving. I might just sit out today, guys, because this market's kind of this thing is way too crazy. The ATR is the highest I've ever seen in a long time right here. But like looking at this setup right here, I couldn't tell if it was if the order actually hit or not. Trying to check over here. Yeah, Maddie said you're gonna wait for the market to stabilize. Maddie said skip this one. ATR and volatility is way too high for him. Nick said way overextended for an MPS. Yeah, let's see if the PRB actually came up. PRB looks like it did come up right here, but the it doesn't look like it played out. Again, like I said, guys, the ATR is like way too high right now. Yeah, so the PRB didn't play through over here. The breakout V3 here hasn't come up, but it looks like it might be setting up here soon. So we're getting a double body rejection right here. This is not going to be a CV entry because the obvious. But again, the ATR is like way too high right now. All right. So we don't have any other entries here that are available just yet. The breakout V3 could be setting up here, but again, this thing could push up, and it looks like it's going to. So if it pushes up higher here, it does not look like there's going to be a high available there anymore. It actually came back down. So the breakout V3 here is still pending. There's no other entries here that are available at the moment. If you get a sell signal, that'll probably be a setup for a pivot scalp. If not, or if that happens, then possibly a a BV3 continuation possibly after. See if this thing drops down further. Yeah, I think today might be a day where I'm going to sit out because the volatility is really high. Price is kind of blocky. Price is overextended, and the ATR here is just way too high for me as well. Currently 36 points, which is super, super high from what we're used to. Let's see. So we're looking for that possible sell signal here. If that sell signal closes, that'll be a possible setup here for a breakout V3. And on top of that, probably a breakout V3 continuation. But again, like the volatility here is way too high. So I think it's probably best to just sit out and wait until the market is stabilized a bit. Yeah, exactly. Sadie said way too oversold worries me too. Yeah. Because it's dropped way too far. Like from the news from earlier this morning, it's just dropped way too far, guys, and it's due for retracement. But that's a problem too, because people are looking for that as well, right? People are looking for the retracement, and some people are scared of the continuation. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword here. Because the thing is, like, people are looking to take the buys. Obviously, you want to look to take the sells, but if people are looking to take the sells, you want to take the buys. So people are looking on both sides. That's why right now the sentiment is it's split. It's not one side, and this is what makes it a little difficult because you don't really have much of a bias here from like where you want to trade, where you want to look, because it's pretty much flat for the most part. Obviously, majority of people are going to look for the buy because this is pretty obvious, but yeah, it's just kind of tough. It is kind of tough. Price established new low like right there. Yeah, Maria said she thinks it'll range until the FOMC statement later today, which I could see as well. So breakout V3 continuation looks like it just came up right here, or right here actually. I'm just marking these up for you guys. I'm not really gonna take anything here. So it looks like there could have been a breakout V3 continuation that would have came up right here. But again, the volatility, these candles are super blocky. This would be a breakout V3, which obviously I wouldn't take. This looks like it probably didn't even play through. Yeah, you guys can see how blocky these candles are. I don't recommend entering any trades right here because it's way oversold. It's too obvious for sellers and it's too obvious for buyers, just like Maddie said. It's too oversold for sells, but it's too obvious for buys. So it's just super tricky. It's stopping out people in both directions because the volatility is so high with the ATR that it can push up at least 25 points to stop people out for a sell, and then it could bring it right back down and stop people out for a buy. So yeah, probably best to just, sit tight and and enjoy the show for the most part. But we just gotta wait. I want to see how much is each candle moving. Each candle is moving. I mean, it's starting to slow down a little bit, but it's still pretty high. Yeah, so each candle is still like about like 30 points, guys. It's still moving about 30 points. So yeah, for sure it's a little tricky, or more than a little tricky at least. Maddie said he's going to sit out today, preserving capital and mental capital. Yeah, exactly. Because this type of market will drive you crazy, guys. Like you might get lucky for some trades, and then you're going to get like pretty much demolished at some point. Because I could like if you look here, there's a lot of room for lucky trades. Like you can just trade, you can take trades based off like rejections off the pivots, right? Price comes up, touches the pivot, shoots down with about 10 points. That's doable. But the thing here that I think is like the most risky part is that at some point, price is not going to reject off the pivot and it's just going to shoot up, right? It's just going to shoot up eventually. And that's where it's going to really mess with your mental if you get in a position like that. Because I mean, obviously you can trade here. Price keeps coming up, rejects off the pivot, comes back down, rejects off the pivot, comes back down, etc. You can trade within the range, but yeah, it's just a mess. Personally, I think it's just a mess. So we will continue to see if there's anything else here that will come up. BB3 here did not play through, of course, just like the PRB. BV3, well, I don't think anything here is really playing through because of the crazy volatility. It's easy to get stopped out. It's easy to hit TP, but there's no one easy way. It's kind of just going back and forth very heavily. See, so the price kind of came down, came up right here, rejected off the pivot. How far did it drop down from the pivot? About 10 points. Yeah, Nick said same as yesterday and the day before, except more volatility today. Yeah, I agree. So price is now pushing up from here, rejecting off the pivots from the lower end. It's pushing up from here. It starts to finally shift to the upside. Nope. And here we go as it comes right back down. This right here, if this candle closes as a smaller red candle, this could be a possible CB entry. But it is, I mean, the market is, it's pretty wild right now. Yeah, JJ said, bro, this is absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's the market is all over. I mean, the volatility is super high. It's not really going anywhere if you think about it. Market's really not going anywhere. It's actually going sideways. So let me go over here to our clean chart. So it's really just going sideways, realistically. It is going sideways here. And I'll just draw the range here so that you guys can see better. But yeah, this is kind of where the market's going right now. It's just going sideways within this range. Trying to zoom it in enough. Yeah. And this is probably what's going to happen for a majority of the session. I mean, price is attempting to go up higher, but for the most part, it's ranging within this area right here, within these two zones. So we'll see if the fake sound comes back down. Might not. I mean, who knows? And it's still climbing up from here. All right, so we have to wait over here. I mean, the volatility is just too high. So again, it's just a waiting game from where it's currently at. See. Maria said it's not a double body. For what are you looking for, Maria? For the double body? Because a CV entry doesn't require double body. It requires a higher green candle with a following smaller red candle. We might have to add a requirement for ATR being too high because the ATR right now is just way too high. It's currently at 36. We have one that is, yeah. What are you looking for though, Maria? Because the CV entry doesn't require double body or double wick. That's one of the setups, but it's not a requirement for it. So if you're looking for a CV entry, you don't need a double body or a double wick. That's one of the patterns, but not one that you would necessarily require. Man, the market is just too crazy right now. I was really hoping I'd be able to take some trades today, but we have news over here at 7 o'clock. Probably better to be on the safe side. So we got news over here at 7 o'clock. It's low impact. This looks like this could be a possible pivot scalp type entry. See if I can see where this ends up going right here. So we got news right here at 7. My phone. So news right here at 7 o'clock. Pending sell signal. Quick. All right, the market is still moving pretty crazy, guys. The ATR is not dropping at all. It's still at where it was and where it's been. Currently at 36. So for me personally, I don't think the market here has stabilized a bit or enough. You guys can see where price is kind of just pushing through right here. It's faking out in a couple directions, but you guys can see where it's rejecting off. It's really just ranging between these two zones here. So this will be the 1 minute resistance level. And this will be the 1 minute support level. All right. Yeah, Hawkshead pivot scalp came up at news. Yeah, this was the it's on the actual news candle, so obviously not one you take at 7 o'clock. Sadie said, I think we might get a clear entry away from this mess. Yeah, if price gets out of the zone right here or this range right here, possibly, but again, I don't know. It's super tricky right now. Yeah, it's pretty messy. So just take everything off here on the clean chart. There's just no direction. I mean, price is going back and forth between this range here. It's been going back and forth for, I mean, pretty much the entire session. So market opened right here at 6:30. It dropped into the range, faked out above, came right back below, and it's been going sideways since. So it's been within this range for about 30 minutes now. It's a long time. It's a long time of being within this area down here. But again, I mean, there's not really much here to work with. I mean, even if you wanted to. I was expecting the ATR to kind of balance out and stabilize by now, but it hasn't. It's still pretty blocky and it's moving around pretty heavily. All right. So there's no entries available around this point. And there's not really much else to look at here. The liquidity down here already got hit. So this was the first entry that came up this morning, which was at 7:36. It was for a liquidity push. Went straight to full TP right there. Other than that, there's nothing else that's really come up over here on the main chart. If there's an entry that comes up, I'll mark it up and I'll show you guys. But for the most part, there's just not really much here to work with. All right. Yeah, there's nothing going on. I'll probably just leave it here on the clean chart right now until market gets out of this range because there's nothing you can really take around this area anyways, even if you wanted to. Because it's just going sideways. There's no direction here. I mean, even the CV entries are going to be kind of tricky because there's news right there. So you can't even take trades around this news price. This pink line right here. Price is climbing up, and then I wouldn't be surprised if it comes right back down. And it did. Yeah, Josh said this market is garbage, bro. Yeah, I agree. There's not really too much here to there's just not much here to I mean, you can't even like pull anything out of this market here because it just keeps going back and forth. And again, right here, it's coming back down. As you guys know, this is the current This is the current range right here. Let's see, Vince said, Sean, did you take the MPS earlier? I took the MPS, but then I ended up closing it because I wasn't sure if it hit TP or not already. So when it came up right here, I was like, I wasn't sure if it hit TP because I saw the line there. So I don't know if I missed it. So what I did was I just closed it when it was like around break even. That's why I didn't say stop fill. Because so whenever you guys hear my little robot speak, and this is something that Steven mentioned yesterday, if it hits my stop, it says stop filled. But for mine, it said order closed or something, order filled or order closed. But it makes a different sound. Like when it hits my stop loss, it says like it's like a striking sound that says stop filled. Um, but you guys heard it earlier when I was on the position, it said something else because I hit close. It's too tricky. I mean, this market's too tricky. Usually, like when you're taking an NPS, it's gonna like fill and then go straight down right away. But this one over here kind of just it lingered for a bit, came down a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna mess with it here because this is this is a tricky area because of the blocky. For one, there was blocky candles, and for two, the ATR is too high, and for three, price was super overextended for a sell. So there's just a lot of things there that that were coming into play. Yeah, Steven said the robot that hits stop loss sounds like a monster in the woods. Yeah, it does. It's a creepy sound. Yeah, you guys have heard it like the past couple of days. It makes a really like sharp, it's like a blade sound. It's like getting cut. It's like a cut sound that says stop fill. Um, but when you hit your TP, it says order closed or order filled, like a girl voice or something like that, or a guy voice. I don't know. It just sounds different, like completely different. All right, so price is finally breaking out of this range over here, and it is starting to climb up higher for that correction that we were talking about. So it might push back up to opening price. That's kind of where I'm expecting price to push up to. See where it ends up going from here. So let's see. Yeah, target price point here is going to be the opening price, of course. Oops. If it ends up pushing up from here. So that is kind of where we're expecting it to go. The thing with this here is that, like, when you guys look at these breakout, well, these types of patterns, the breakout V3 continuation patterns, these are usually going to be indicators of like where price will likely go. So, like, for example, here you have a buy signal with a green candle, and we have a target price point, which is opening price. Odds of it pushing that direction are very likely. Let's see. Josh is asking if this was 707. No, this wouldn't be a pivot scalp because the trend here is bearish, Josh. Sam said he took a triple confluence full TP for 25.50. Nice work, Sam. Yeah, so the candle broke and closed past the higher high right here. Sam took this as a triple confluence entry because there was a buy signal across above it. Took that right there, and he took it for 25 points. Nice work, Sam. Quick in and out for you right there before price ended up tumbling back down. Yeah, Maddie said he skipped the triple because the pivots were nasty. I agree. It's a messy market today, guys. Super messy market today. Steven said, Sorry, just one second. Steven said he made 100 pips from gold. Should he call it a day? I mean, if you're happy with your profit, Steven, I mean, I would call it a day. It's just not, it's just not, it's not the type of market. Sorry. It's not the type of market to be messing with. I mean, today, especially. Yeah, come back tomorrow when the ATR is lower or when the ATR is more stable. Yeah, the candle was very big. Now, one second, I got a cough. Um, Josh, said you yawning? Time to log off Ninja Trader. I said might be trying to make its way back to open. All right, Steve, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Andreas said also wasn't the candle a little too big? Yeah, it was for sure. This candle was like 50 points. Well, I guess it wasn't too big for Sam because Sam was doing a 25.50. So typically what you would do is you would set up your TP stop loss and then you would see if it's bigger. It's pretty big, but if you're doing like a 25.50, like it would kind of meet your criteria because the stop loss is still bigger than the candle here. But typically, yeah, if you're doing a 10.30 or a 10.25, this candle for sure would be too big. But Sam made some adjustments. He made some small adjustments to his TP stop loss. So with his stop loss being that wide, he had enough space to take the trade. So for him, I mean, it worked out, and that's typically your threshold, the stop loss. And he had enough space there for if price was to retrace. But yeah, for a regular entry, it would be definitely a little too big. Let's see. Yeah, so Nick said just lost his Apex account. Somehow it entered him into a trade without his knowledge, spiked to stop loss like half a second, put me in at 5 contracts on each account. My ATM strat was set to 1 contract. So not sure what happened, wasn't even on the same screen when it executed, and it didn't make the order filled noise. That's crazy, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, probably reach out to them. It was probably just an error on there, and hopefully that they can fix. Yeah, not sure, Nick. But hopefully they can resolve that. Did it just enter right now, Nick, or is it like assuming it just entered right now? And Nick said it was at a random time earlier. Gotcha. So it looks like price is trying to pull back into the range right here. It's kind of what it seems like. Price is pulling right back into the range. So just a small fake out up here. Price pushed up slightly, faked out, and then now it's coming right back into the range down below, which is what it seems like. All right, so here we go as price kind of comes back down into the range. All right, Josh, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Josh is done for the day. He's not dealing with the market. Um, yeah, probably better idea there to just chill out for a bit, especially because I mean this thing is moving pretty crazy. If you guys look at each candle has been at least 30 points, which is super risky because if you're taking any trades here and your stop loss is like at 25, you can easily get stopped out right away. And you can kind of see how these candles are moving. They don't really move in solidarity. Like you'll see a big red candle, big green candle, big red candle, big green candle, a couple green candles, huge red candles. The pattern here that I'm looking at is it kind of moves in bunches. So you'll see a bunch of red candles, then a fake out, a bunch of green candles, a bunch of red candles, some fake outs right here, some more green candles. Like there's no consistent pattern. It's like they come in bunches. They'll come in a bunch right here. Like for example, these red candles, they come in a bunch. I guess you like if you really wanted to the pattern that I'm seeing here is that whenever you see bunches, look for the reversal. Because you can see here that that's literally what's happening. Price will come in bunches right here, a bunch of green candles, and then you see the double body reverse back down. And then again, right here, you see a bunch of red candles that reverse back up. You see a bunch of green candles, reverse, bunch of red candles, reverse, bunch of green, reverse, red candles, reverse. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's not no specific strategy to it, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing that's happening right now specifically. So like, for example, here, if I see like maybe three green candles that keep pushing up, and then I see some sort of reversal type happening, it's probably going to drop from this point here, or not from here specifically, but basically. So there's only one green candle here. If I see like three green candles and I see a high with a green and it followed by a red, I'm expecting that to maybe come back into the range here. And these are just small inconsistencies that I see in the market. There's no strategy to it. It's just I'm seeing what's in front of me right now, and that's kind of the pattern that I'm identifying. So again, right here, you can see how price, there was three red candles. It was followed by a red low with a green candle right here, and the price is now pushing up. So price pushes up, and I'm looking for this here, the same pattern, looking for a green candle to come up. And then once it starts to exhaust and there's exhaustion, it's going to come back down. So that's kind of what you're just looking for. Look for the exhaustion if you're looking to take these quick scalps. Because if I was to put together a strategy just for today, from how the market's moving, it's really just an exhaustion strategy. Price will push a little bit. There's the exhaustion, and it comes back up. Pushes up, exhaustion comes back down. Exhaustion comes back up. Exhaustion comes back down. So same thing with right here. Price is pushing up. This is going to get exhausted eventually. Once it's exhausted, look for it to, climb its way back down. But you gotta be quick with it. Like you can't be thinking too much about the entry, because when the exhaustion happens, that's when the entry has to happen. Like for example, right here, this might be the exhaustion that I was just talking about. Back to our normal charts over here, there's not really much here to look at or anything to take, so you're not really missing out on anything. But yeah, what I could see here is probably some exhaustion to the downside, and then reject off the pivots, and then exhaustion there and come right back up. It's still trying to get up to opening price. That's like the key area right there where it's trying to reach. But the more and more that I look at these current candles for today, and there we go, price push back to opening price right there. The more and more that I look at these candles here, the more obvious it's starting to make sense, like what patterns are running today. All right. I mean, it looks like you can pretty much take any breakout V3 continuation because like without trend, because there's no trend. Like for example, right here, the breakout V3 continuation that would have came up right here for a quick 10 points. And another one right here, buy a signal green candle for, another 10 points. So it looks like this right here might be the exhaustion that I was just referring to. Price got up to opening price. If we see like a red candle right here, this is probably going to pull down a little bit and then come back up. But there's no actual entries here, at least not yet. All right, price isn't done pushing up yet. So you can see right there, depending on how this candle here closes, the trend here is starting to shift. So we might have a bullish trend. We might have a correction back to the upside. That correction is going to be pretty crazy because it's going to have to push all the way up to here, which is like, yeah, it's a big correction. If you measure it from the low right here, the very low point, up to here, that's like 600 points. So here we go, as price climbed its way a bit higher. So if you guys remember, yesterday I was talking about polls, and now they've introduced polls into Discord. Nice. Okay, cool. So they do have polls now. Back and take a look at that later. All right, so price is just sitting right here at the opening price, which is also the 1 minute resistance level. And just when we thought the market was going to start moving smoother, it just gets even crazier. It's been a frustrating past couple of weeks, right, guys? With the market conditions, because the market conditions are changing like weekly now. It seems like the past 2 weeks, market was kind of slow, was ranging, consolidating. Now the market's super crazy. I feel like this happens maybe like once a month or a couple of times a month where the ATR is this high. I remember last month the ATR was super high at some point, like just one day. But the market was moving directional. It just kept dropping. Today it's kind of like all over the place. So guys, again, right here, like I said, price is getting overextended in this area. There's going to be some exhaustion. It's probably going to come back down. So it's currently at the opening price, but it looks like it has trouble holding. The trend here still hasn't confirmed yet. Same. All right, so the trend here, nice. Maddie said he caught the high low. So Maddie caught a high low here when price broke and closed past the pivots right there. So it looks like price is just going into new consolidation around this area. So price was initially down here, ranging, consolidating. Price came up for a fake out. So price basically faked out twice. It faked out right here, came back below, faked out down here, and then now it's back up here. Now it's consolidating around this area. All right, so we got price rejecting off opening price. Here it's just consolidating sideways. Not really seeing too much here happening. If anything, price looks like it might push back up higher if yeah, it looks like that's what's happening here. Establishing a new high at this point. So guys, if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. There's just nothing for us to really work with here. I mean, the trend's starting to shift up to the upside, but there's no confirmation of it shifting yet. Other than that, there's no other entries here that have really come up. The problem with the market today is that the ATR is super high. It's starting to stabilize a little bit. So as you can see down below, the ATR is no longer at like 35, it's now at 29. So the market's slowly going back to how it's supposed to be. Typically below 20 or 22 and below that. That's typically where it should be. Yeah, right now it's probably best to kind of sit tight and wait for this to obviously smooth it out a little bit. So price is just consolidating around this 1 minute resistance level up here. The ETR is starting to drop down a little bit, so it's starting to look a little bit normal. It's getting closer to 730, 740. 730 is still an okay time. There's news right here. I believe it's oil news. Yeah, gas stock change news over here at 730. That's what's coming up right here. And then I think as we get closer and closer to 740, so 740 is usually where the market dies down on a normal market. And you can see right here, the market is kind of slowing down a little bit. It's not dying down completely, but it is slowing down a bit. The ETR is down to 28 now. And it's probably going to drop down to 20, 27, 26. And we'll just take it as is as the price continues to move along. All right, Maddie. Maddie said he's going to call it a day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Maddie. All right, so price looks like it might be coming down a little bit. I do expect price to keep pushing up though. For me personally, I think price will keep pushing up from this point. I think it'll sit around this area and eventually it'll just keep climbing up. Maybe not a super quick move up, but I do expect it to push up a bit. Yeah, Sadie said double body on top. Yeah, double body on top right here. It's probably gonna just consolidate around it a little bit. But I do see the bullish trend. So the bullish trend here is now confirmed. And with that said, I think this is probably going to be the correction back to the upside. That's like, eventually going to happen here. So probably, let's see. Yeah, what I see, so I'm looking at the bigger picture here. This is the bigger picture. If I zoom out enough, you guys can see the bigger picture. This is like where I'm starting to see where it's probably going to continue climbing up a little bit higher and make the correction eventually. Maybe not right now, but I think eventually I think this whole area is going to get filled. Might happen today, might happen tomorrow. I mean, who really knows? But yeah, looking at the bigger picture here from like this huge drop from the news candle, price does want to correct back up. It just doesn't have the opportunity just yet. But yeah, once you zoom in, you it looks like the candles are normal here, but if you zoom out, you're like, yeah, the candles are definitely not normal, at least not yet. Because it hasn't really, like you just focus in on this little area, it makes sense. But there's a lot of room to recoup up here. So going back to this here, I mean, price was having trouble getting past the 1 minute resistance level, but I personally think price will just correct back up from where it's currently at. And it's going to try to make its way past this resistance. And that's the only way it'll continue climbing. Until then, it's probably just going to consolidate around here for a bit until it has opportunity to, get out from here. All right. All right, guys, getting closer to 740. The market's starting to get slower. So the market is definitely stabilizing. You can see over here, the ATR is now back down to 25. So this is like normal, not normal market, but it's getting closer and closer to normal market. Not there yet, but it is getting there. Some point. ATR's at 25. As we get closer to 740, I think it's going to get even lower. So you guys can see that it dropped from 35 to 32 to 28 to 26, now 24. Normal ATR is going to be around 15. So the market here is finally starting to stabilize a little bit. We had news right here at 7:30. It was gas stock change. I'm going to take this off. And yeah, I mean, let's see where this ends up going. There goes a correction that we were talking about earlier. So there goes a correction that I was talking about earlier. It's pushing past the 1 minute resistance level. If anything, if you guys are looking at taking entries, I would only look for buys here because there's this huge correction that needs to happen right here. And basically, I mean, if price pulls back at all, you can probably catch the correction back to the upper side. But just be careful if you guys are looking at taking the entry. Don't take any random entries. What I would recommend is look for reversal patterns, like price coming back down, maybe double bottoms from the bottom end, or rejections off the pivots. So if you guys have any entries, look for those confluences. Like for example, right here, this is a breakout V3 continuation. I would have looked at like this lower end right here. I know this isn't a double body off a low, but this would just give me some patterns here, some confluences. Like okay, price looks like it's reversing from here because there's some exhaustion, then price pushed back up, and you see these like wicks right here, and price is now pushing up. So the correction is starting to play through. I mean, it's got a long way to go though. So there's nothing here yet, but I mean, there's a long way to go until it swings the way back to the upside. Yeah, so Samo here said I'd look for an MPS buy. That's exactly what I'd look for too. Look for any buy entries because for pretty much this entire morning and this entire session, I was expecting price to swing back up. It just never came up until now. As you can see, it was sitting down here for a long time. You guys can see how long it consolidated for. It consolidated for like over an hour. So from this point right here up until here, it actually consolidated for about 2 hours. The range consolidated for about 2 hours until it finally is making its correction back to the upside. Just because it's making a correction doesn't mean you should just take any buy though. Make sure you have some sort of strategy, some sort of analysis that will help you, trade in that direction. Yeah, Andreas said it was close to opening price, and that's why he didn't take the BV3 continuation. Yeah, I was kind of tempted to take that too, Andreas, because I saw that the ATR dropped down a little bit right here, and I was like, okay, this is a breakout V3 continuation for a buy. The reason why this here would be for a buy is because there's a bullish trend here. Trend meter is also green. But like with Andreas, what he mentioned is that it was touching the opening price. That makes it a red flag, right? Because there's an area of manipulation there. So yeah, I agree with you too, Andreas. That'd be a bit of a risky thing to take there, of course. So I was going to show you guys my profit from that trade earlier. I don't know, is Vince still here? So I didn't realize that it actually hit my TP, Vince. Oh, Vince isn't even here anymore. So for the MPS earlier, guys, it actually hit my TP. I don't know if anybody else took it, but it did hit my TP. I will, actually, I didn't even take a look. I've been like kind of just looking at the charts all day, but let me go over here real quick. I'll put this over here. So first full green day in a while. It's been a long time since I've really posted profits because I just haven't taken any trades or if I'm taking trades, they've been like kind of shitty trades and there just hasn't been anything there. But here's my trade from today, the MPS. As you guys know, I started a brand new what is it? A brand new eval. So these are my brand new evals, guys. I have 20 new evals here for 300K. And there's my profit right there. Yeah, so it's like Sadie's hit, mine hit too. I don't know. The market was kind of crazy today with the volatility. I'll just take a picture of that so we know what trade it came from. And I don't even remember where it came, where it was. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember where it came from. I know it's from here. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Price pushed up. Let me just replay this point over here real quick. Gotcha. 642. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm just gonna mark it up so that you guys, if you guys want to go back and take a look. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like I wasn't even sure if mine hit TP or not, but the only reason I know I didn't hit stop loss was because it didn't say stop filled. It always says stop filled if it hits my stop loss. And for me here, it looks like it like just basically hit it really quick and then it went the opposite. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that was the case for me. I'm taking a screenshot of this here. Gotcha. Thanks, Andreas, for the heads up. All right, so it is 7:38. Price is really starting to climb and it's starting to find its stride to the upside. I mean, it's not there yet, but it is still starting to find it a bit higher. So just expect this gap to be filled either by today or by tomorrow. Huge gap right there. But let me just put this over here real quick so that you guys know where these profits came from. See, we have some team profits over here as well. So David over here took the trade too, took a profit of 177 for the day. Nice work, David. Also over here, Nikki took the high level momentum scalp for a quick profit. She locked in total profit of 10 points each, total profit of about 1,000 for the day. Nice work, Nikki. Here's Andreas over here. He took the trade earlier this morning. Looks like he locked in a total profit of 2,020. Nice work, Andreas. And here's Madhu. He locked in a partial profit as well, 140. Nice work, Madhu. All right, so solid profits, guys. I know it's been a while since we've covered profits because the market's just kind of been going, not really working as good. And we just haven't really been taking any trades. The only trade I took here was the momentum pullback scalp. And then I thought I closed out early, but I guess it hit my TP because looking at my profit over here, I mean, it's well over 1,000. I got hit with some slippage, it looks like. So I got hit with a lot of slippage here because I've never seen my profits look all crazy like this. I think it was supposed to be 1,000 profit, which my main account right here did lock in my full TP, and the rest over here kind of like was all over the place. So yeah, crazy market, crazy market today, with regard to with these entries. Let's see. Sadie said, Sean, next resistance up top. The next resistance is way up there, Sadie. So it's like where the news happened. The 1 hour resistance is super up here. I mean, you can find new resistance. So I think this right here, if this higher high gets established, this will be the new resistance. So yeah, if a couple more candles close and they just keep moving sideways, this here will also be this will be the new 1 minute resistance right there. All right. So other than that, I don't really see too much. The ATR is now back to 25. It's still at 25. Um, it seems like this is going to be well, not really. I think the ATR, you guys can see how these candles are getting really small. I think in the next 10, 15 minutes, the ATR is going to drop substantially. It's going to drop from like 24 to like maybe 15. As you can see here, this is typically where the market dies down at 7:40. This is where I usually stop trading. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, there's just not really much here to take. The only entry that came up here, or I guess, yeah, the only entry that officially would have came up would have been this momentum pullback scalp. Otherwise, this breakout V3 continuation wouldn't have been an entry for us because it was at opening price. That's a red flag. And then where price is currently at right here, we're not really expecting much to happen here because price is at the session. So even if you were to get some sort of entry that would come up, like say, for example, a CV entry or anything like that, you probably wouldn't be able to take it because it's right at the sessions. Also, the reason why I don't think a CV or any type of entry will come up is because the volatility is extremely low now. So if you measure each candle right here, each candle is like 10 points or less. So I'm not expecting much to happen from here until 8 o'clock. Usually if time hits 7:40 and it's like a normal market where I'm trading, this is usually maybe a time where I cut off the live session anyways, because my cutoff is around 7:40 for regular scalps. So yeah, no problem, Nikki. And also you say, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat right now. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up and then we'll call it a day. Come back tomorrow fresh. Hopefully tomorrow market's gonna be a lot smoother. I think it will be. Let me check the news calendar for tomorrow. So tomorrow, Thursday, we do have some high impact news again in the morning. I'm not sure if this is going to, actually, I take that back. We're probably gonna have a crazy morning again tomorrow. Probably not as crazy as today. We're gonna have the Fed speak today with the Fed minutes at 11 o'clock. And then tomorrow we have jobless claims, initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims, PPI month over month. This is producer price index and more inflation news. But the thing is, all of the heavy news is pretty much out of the way. So this stuff's pretty much going to either, it's pretty much going to reiterate what happened from today, which was bullish, not necessarily good news, but it was bullish. And the news tomorrow is probably going to be bullish too, for the most part. So yeah, for core PPI, they're forecasting it to be negative. And for PPI, they're forecasting to be negative as well. So they're all forecasting it to be negative. But if price ends up, or if the change ends up being the same or slightly higher, then it's going to be positive. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But again, like I said, I'm not expecting any other entries to come up here, guys. Unfortunately, today was one of those days where we kind of had to play it safe because of the market conditions. And it's better to play it safe and not take any losses than to take unnecessary risk and get caught in losses that could have been easily avoided. So there's a V1 pattern that's setting up right here. If anybody's looking to take it, this is not a CV pattern, but this is a V1 variation. There is a double body rejection right here. I mean, this could be a CB entry. I'm not going to take it, but I'm just going to show you guys here. It's too late in the session, and I'm not really looking to take anything here. But this could be a possible CB entry. And you can see the candle is starting to look normal, right? You can now use a 1025, and you don't have to worry about getting stopped out with like when they'll move. So yeah, if you guys are looking for a CB entry, this might be a CB entry here, possibly. Otherwise, it could be a V1 variation. It's a double body rejection right there. But if the screen candle does close smaller, that'd be a CB entry. So it didn't close smaller, but it's still a V1 variation. So if anybody's looking to take that there, again, I'm not in this position. I just wanted to show you guys what was coming up right before we get off this live session. But not one I would take because, like I said, it's 7:40. My cutoff time for entries is 7:40, and I'm glad I didn't take it because you guys can see how the market gets pretty manipulative right here at this point. So yeah, hopefully nobody took it. You know, 7:40 is usually the time where the market gets manipulated, and that's why I stopped trading. So if you guys have been trading me for a while, 7:40 is my cutoff for regular scalps. Because for one, the volatility dies down here. And when it dies down, you just get a sideways market and you'll get caught in fake outs in both directions. So, All right, guys, other than that, have a great rest of your day. If you guys have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session. Let me just check real quick if there's any more profits. A couple more profits here from Ross. So Ross actually took a trade too. He's up about 20,000 for the day, well over 20,000. Nice work, Ross. And for my profits, if I add this up, I'm up about 20,000 as well for gross and weekly, I guess. Whatever. I'm around that point. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow